Hi, everyone. Tonight's topic is asserting healthy boundaries. Before we get started, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you're hearing. Like and subscribe and share. Here we do video essays, lifestyle blogging on for that. I'm not a licensed therapist or clinician. Um, that needs to be, if you're a clinician or life coach or such things, using my content for that purpose would be inappropriate and socially irresponsible. Also, um, by me being an ESS employee, there is no presumption of privacy. So I must preface this also by saying my blog does not reflect the views of my employer. Moving on. Um, if you are an empath, and I consider myself to be empath, you will come across people who will test your boundaries, and it is up to you to hold your boundaries. Um, People are not going to protect necessarily your boundaries or look out for them. You may run across people who are kind and who have the same spirit as you do, but that is not a guarantee. And knowing that and it having a keen awareness of that is essential to survival in this world, because this world is not a kind place. Hi, Milan. And in order to survive, one must be aware that everyone doesn't. I see people coming in. Thank you for. Hi, Krabby. Hi, Cassandra. I appreciate the compliments. Hi. Knowing that everyone does not have the same heart as you cannot erroneously put everybody on that same plane and expect for people to treat you with the same regard that you treat them. There are people who do not have any regard and will step over your boundaries without a second thought. Um, I'm not sure. Hi, Rudy. Hi, Sophia. Of course, you can get a shout out. Country, were you trying to be a troll? Um, because if you are, I'm going to put you in timeout. I don't deal with trolls. People are entitled to their opinion and their experience, but nobody is going to ruin my life. Perfect example of boundaries. You don't have to engage with people who are negative. Not everybody deserves your energy, and you don't have to give it. And you, even as a good person, cannot walk around expecting for everybody to return it. You can be the kindest person in the world, but that doesn't mean that everybody is going to see you and value you as such. You know your value, you know your worth, but you cannot demand that other people see it, period. But you know how you expect to be treated, and you can set that standard. And if people do not want to rise to that standard, you don't have to sit around and let people mistreat you. You can just not engage. And if you're in a workplace or you have to live with people who are constantly violating your boundaries, my suggestion would be, if you have to continuously deal with people that are violating your boundaries, if you have to deal with them in a workplace setting, then thank you, Deetris. Did I say your name? I appreciate your comment. And from your picture, so are you. That was a very kind thing to say. That's very nice of you. I humbly appreciate that. If you're in a workplace setting, I wouldn't recommend approaching the person who violated the boundary directly. What I would recommend, because I'm a substitute teacher, what I would recommend is going to your superior, even though in this culture it would be seen as snitching. But we have to be practical because we're dealing with adults, and we're dealing with your bottom line, which is your coin. So I would talk to my superior and say, "Hey, so and so is being disrespectful." I would document said incidents because the pen is mightier than the sword. I wouldn't just go in with he said, she said. I would document it. I would stick to the facts first and then talk about how it made me feel and talk about a hostile work environment. Because if you get into your feelings in a work environment, then you get into a shouting match, you could end up in HR. But if you are in a personal setting, the best thing to do is to try to read the room and read the situation. If you're dealing with a person that is a butthole and you know this person is a butthole, calling a spade is probably not the best approach. They probably know that they are a jerk. So calling it out is probably not gonna be the best thing. But if it's a continuous situation that is festering and creating a situation that impacts your mental health, probably on a case by case situation, I would address it, but just tread lightly. But just know that calling attention to a situation does not necessarily 911 is the phone. I don't understand what you're saying. It may be a language barrier. I apologize. Um, but I just would tread lightly and I would read the room and the situation. But the purpose of the video is to just understand that establishing boundaries does not necessarily mean that the other party is going to necessarily Respect the boundaries that you set. Disengage is the key. Self care is the key. Don't respond or don't internalize their negative behavior. Whatever they say about you, whatever their opinion is about you, it's hard to not to personalize things that are so personal. If somebody says something, for example, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, it is a personal attack, but it's personal, but it's not, because it's only as personal as much as you internalize it. So as much as it is said about you, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. So my suggestion, and I'm not telling people what to believe or how to think, but my suggestion would be to pray, meditate, get around your people. And by your people, what I'm saying is get around like minded people, get around people who are edifying, even if that means separating from people who share your DNA, because sometimes the people who can do the most damage, the people who are the most narcissistic, are some of the people we have most long standing relationships with. Cut ties with people who are unhealthy and be unapologetic about it. And don't fall for gaslighting phrases like you're making too big of a deal of a situation, or you're too sensitive. No, you're not. You're a gaslighter. You're entitled to your experience of how somebody treated you. Don't ever let anybody guilt trip you into having a valid feeling because of their negative behavior. Some people just never grew up. They just never grew up, and it's the entitlement for me. Some people are grown ups, but they're a toddler inside, and they feel that the world revolves around them. Don't feed into that, and be okay with being the anti hero in somebody else's narrative. Remember that some people's the worst karma for some people is living with the reality that they have the character that they have. Just hold on to who you are. Hold on to the fact that you have a moral clock and they don't. And never let anybody be powerful enough to take your smile away from you. Have a blessed day. I'm signing off. Take care.